What you're about to hear is a true story. It took place more than a century ago in the heart of Mexico City, inside one of the most visited Catholic shrines in the world. There was no warning, no sign that anything was wrong, just a quiet morning, candles flickering, flowers arranged at the altar, until the explosion. In the aftermath, witnesses stood in disbelief. The blast had bent metal, shattered windows, thrown debris across the church. But one object stood untouched. Some call it a miracle. Others say it was just luck or clever engineering. This story has no easy answers, and in the end, you'll have to decide for yourself. Was this an act of God or something else? The year was 1921. Mexico was still recovering from the revolution. Churches were caught in the crossfire of politics and faith, especially the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Located on Tepeyac Hill, it held what millions believed to be the sacred image of the Virgin Mary imprinted on a cloak, or tilma, in the 1500s. That tilma belonged to Juan Diego, an indigenous peasant who claimed the Virgin Mary appeared to him in 1531. According to the story, her image appeared miraculously on the cloak, an image that never faded. For nearly 400 years, pilgrims came from all over to see it. Even skeptics admitted that the colors hadn't faded or cracked, something hard to explain for a piece of fabric nearly 4 centuries old. By 1921, Mexico was deeply divided. Anti-clerical sentiment was rising, the church was under pressure, and the Basilica was not just a place of worship, it was a symbol. On the morning of November 14, a man walked into the Basilica. His name was Luciano Pérez Carpio. According to historical records, he worked for the Secretary of Agriculture. He wasn't dressed suspiciously. He didn't shout or threaten. In fact, he came with flowers. He approached the altar calmly and left a bouquet at the base of the image, then left. Minutes later, the flowers exploded. A powerful bomb hidden inside the bouquet shattered the peace of the shrine. The force cracked the marble altar, shattered glass throughout the sanctuary, and mangled the bronze crucifix that stood beside the tilma. Debris flew everywhere. The sound could be heard for blocks. When the smoke cleared, people began to realize something odd. The bronze crucifix, which had been just a few feet from the explosion, was twisted and bent backward. Heavy marble pieces had been torn from the altar. Windows were blown out, but the tilma, untouched. It hadn't moved. The glass protecting it wasn't even cracked. Witnesses reported that the image looked exactly the same. No scorch marks, no shifting of the cloth. The flowers around it had been destroyed, but not the image. One of the church caretakers at the time, Father Antonio Lopez, later said in a written account, "We were certain the image had been damaged, but it was as if the blast had curved around it." The response was immediate. For many Catholics, it was a miracle, clear proof that the image was under divine protection. People came to see the damaged crucifix, which became known as El Cristo del Atentado, the Christ of the attack. It's still on display at the Basilica today. Church officials held no press conference. There was no dramatic announcement, but the faithful spread the word. God had protected the Virgin. Pérez Carpio, the man behind the bomb, was arrested and imprisoned. He never gave a detailed explanation. He simply claimed that he wanted to strike a blow against the church. Over the years, researchers have studied the tilma closely. It's made of a cactus fiber that should have decayed centuries ago. Scientists from NASA reportedly analyzed the cloth in the 1970s and found no trace of paint or brush strokes. Others dispute that claim, saying no official NASA report was ever released. Some skeptics argue the image is a 16th century painting that has been extremely well preserved thanks to a careful upkeep and environmental controls. As for the bomb, they point to the position of the image behind the glass, saying that the bomb's placement slightly forward and to the side could have allowed the shock wave to disperse in other directions. The glass, they say, may have been stronger than expected. One critic wrote, "It's not that the tilma was protected by God, it was protected by physics. It's just that nobody had studied the angle of the blast." Still, even the skeptics admit it's strange. The damage pattern is uneven, and the crucifix, made of solid bronze, was bent backwards in a way that suggests a powerful force, narrowly missing the cloth. To this day, the tilma remains on display at the new Basilica, built in 1976 to accommodate more visitors. Over 10 million people visit the site every year. Many kneel beneath the image in silence. Some cry, others take photos, and some walk unsure what to believe. The damaged crucifix still stands nearby, bent and burned. It serves as a silent witness to something that happened on a quiet Monday in 1921. Some call it a miracle, others call it a historical mystery. But everyone agrees, it's a story that refuses to fade. What do you think really happened inside the Basilica? Was it chance, clever engineering, or something beyond explanation? The facts are all there, recorded in newspapers, seen in photos, retold by witnesses. But interpretation, that's up to you. Leave a comment and tell me what you believe. Was the tilma protected by luck or something greater? Thanks for watching.